Hey, let's talk about the top problems with baking bread, okay? Top problem. Why won't my wheat bread raise up nice and poofy? Okay, same thing goes for white, okay? But wheat is a coarser grain, so it takes a little more working, a little more elbow grease to make it happen, okay? So if you want to make this happen, Captain, you got to work your dough right, okay? So if you're making great big batches like this, I actually suggest adding 2 cups of flour at a time. And you're buying your white flour, your all-purpose unbleached flours. Always add them in last. But the secret is all about proofing and the kneading. The longer you knead your bread, the more it's going to raise. But it's also going to make it dry out. So keep that in mind. So if you don't want your bread to dry out, you've got to up your good oilies that you put in there. So all your baking fats, like your lard and your cocoa oil or your Crisco, whatever it is that you use, honey, okay? You got to up those, okay? Especially with wheat, okay? Yeah, you want to up that, okay? Second, it's the proofing. So I've taught you guys many times, and if this is the first time we have met, my name is Crystal. I am your resident home baker, teacher, mindset coach. I'm also our resident jewelry maker and designer. I'm the chief creative director here at Milled Artistry. Yeah, we do a lot of things, all inspired by history, so that we can reimagine what our future can look like together. Okay, my dear? Yeah, that's what we're doing, okay? All right, using those old pioneer secrets and those lost arts to recreate the foundation for tomorrow to be even more awesome and a little less chaotic than it is right now. Anyone else got chaos going on? All right, so I teach you about pre-proofing, okay? That's what I call it anyway. Pre-proofing is an old secret, and it is actually still found in certain types of bread making, such as bagels and country loaves, where you put your first initial ingredients in, and then you set your and then you add your water with your yeast and the sugars, and you set it off to the side, and you let it sit there for at least 5 minutes. Okay, you can let it sit for longer. Okay, it's going to soften up all those grains, and it's going to make your whole wheat actually melt into your dough a little bit easier, so you won't have to quite use so much elbow strength in the process of working this down. All right, beautifuls. Also, it falls on how many times and how long you let it rest in between each step. So if you say you get to this point where I've got about half of my all-purpose flour in here. I've got all my whole wheat. I've got half my all-purpose. If I were to just walk away from this as soon as I had this flour mixed in and just let it sit for another 5 minutes, it would raise up even more. Then come back and add my additional wheat or my additional flour and finish mixing it, and then set it off to do its actual proofing and restings. Yeah, it'd raise up even better, okay? But when you're on a busy time crunch, those things are not always an option. So a lot of the breads I teach you are a very old-fashioned, pioneer-inspired, dense bread. And that's because I understand the time crunch. Now, I do like my bread to be a little on the fluffy sometimes. However, most of the time, it's all about the time. Simple as that. As a busy mom of 5, plus my own business, running a home, all the things that we do, I'm busy, guys. This is country life, honey. Country life. Most of the time for me, it is the time crunch. And I know for a lot of you, it's the time crunch too. So keep in mind how much time you have to make. Now say you only have maybe a max of 2 hours. You know what? And you're out of bread, and like finances are starting to get tight and you find that you really love making bread, like I always encourage you to come join me for free before you ever even like think about buying one of my courses. P.S. At the time of this recording, I don't even have any of my courses out to you at the moment. They're all sitting on standby until January. So keep in mind how much time you have. So if you only have the 2 hours, I suggest swinging over to Mill Artistry and grabbing one of my free recipes. Each of those recipes only takes an hour and a half to 2 hours, because real life versus what's on paper is not always the same thing. Just saying, I'm just saying. You know what it's supposed to take and how long it actually does take. Like, yeah. All right. But you know what? Even then, that's the same time as a movie. So you can invest 10 to 15 minutes right in the very beginning to get everything in your bowl, mix it up, knead it up, and set it off to the side, raising in your pans, and just walk away. You can go through, make dinner, or clean up the house, sit down, watch a movie. You do gotta hop up once in a while, and you will have to hop up and pop it in the oven, and then turn your oven down a little later on. But, you know, damn, that's not bad, right? 10 to 15 minutes of actual hands-on work, and then you can just walk away. Not too far, but you can just walk away. That's pretty awesome. However, those are dense breads because you're only giving them one proofing, which is why the pre-proofing in there is so absolutely important. You have to have that pre-proof in there. Now, in other cases, you actually proof your bread. You actually raise your bread 2, 3, even sometimes up to 10 times. Now, the more you proof your bread, the drier it's going to become and the more springy it's going to become. So think of like French bread, for example. Yeah, that's got 10 proofings in it, okay? Like you add flour, mix it in, and then walk away for 10 minutes. Come back, add flour, mix it in, walk away for another 10 minutes. And you do that 10 times, man. 10 times. And I'll tell you what, if you're anything like me, trying to stay on a 10-minute time schedule, doesn't work very well. It does not work very well. All right. So, my dear, there's just some fast little secrets to start getting successful baking your own homemade breads. And if you want to learn more, follow me along. Okay? I got you. So I've got jewelry videos coming out, and I have bread videos coming out. So I've got some full videos actually coming out. They're still being edited at the time of this recording, and I'll have them out to you probably starting next week. I wanted to have some of them out to you this week, but I don't think it's going to happen. But maybe. Week's not over yet. You think? Maybe? All right. My beautiful, go grab yourself a free recipe and swing over, but check out our playlists, because I have actual playlists for you guys. I got to clean them up a little bit, but I have playlists for you. So if you want to learn how to make bread, I'll teach you. I'll teach you right here, right now, okay? And I teach you these old pioneer breads. Now, if you're wanting those lighter, fluffier breads, you're going to need to add in additional proofings. Just saying, just saying. All right? So, if you want to make some delicious homemade whole wheat breads, or a half wheat bread, which is actually the equivalent of a whole wheat bread from the grocery store, just saying. Half wheat breads, which is actually what this one is. It's a half wheat. Or if you want to make all white, I think I even have lit videos on all white breads here on my YouTube channel and in my private group. Oh my gosh, yeah. All right, my friends, remember to stay magical and enjoy the beginning of fall and school and all the things. You want to learn how to stay on top of things? Get back into the structure of things with school starting. Like we've all kind of fell off the bandwagon. or got on the bandwagon, however you want to look at that saying. And we've stopped doing a lot of things over the last several months that, typically we always did. You know what? I've got videos for you guys on just that. So, stay tuned. If you want to learn how to get yourself back on track, and back into the habit of making your homemade breads and taking back control of your life and finding the things that really light you up in your life, that may possibly just give you a little bit of Zen time too. Because you know what? Making homemade bread by hand is so absolutely just relaxing. At least for me. Helps make my stress go bye-bye and help click my brain into the right focus that it needs for the day, so I can actually accomplish it. All the things I have to do, from homeschooling my preschoolers to tending to all my animals, the house, the business, the classes, the whole works. And you know what? Regardless of what my schedule looks like compared to yours, I know you're busy too. Like, frankly, you amaze me. You do. Y'all do so much. You do so much in your day. And you know what? You deserve to have a pat on the back. Go celebrate. Just the things that you got finished. Because when you look back a year from where you are now, or even 5 years, 10 years, look at how many things you have accomplished. I love a year because it reminds me of my children. Every time their birthday comes up, they're so ecstatic for their birthday. Okay? They're so ecstatic because they look back at where they were a year ago, and for them, that seems like an eon ago. That seems like ages ago. And they look at how much they've grown. They look at how much they can now do that they couldn't do before. How good they can use their words, or they can count, or do their ABCs. How they can make their own beds, or help bake breads and clean dishes and take care of the animals and just all the things. They look at all of those massive milestones in their own life and they're ecstatic about it, and they want to share it to the world. But we stop doing that as we get to be older. Okay, guys? Simple truth. We stop doing it, and nothing good comes from that. Okay? It just doesn't. So, be a kid again. Be excited to tell people how old you are. So, I just turned 39. I think. I'm bad with birthdays, guys. You know, it doesn't matter if you're turning 80 or if you're turning 40 or if you're turning 18 or if you're turning 8. 3. Those are things to be proud of, because you've just accomplished so much in a year's time, and I highly doubt you've even given yourself a chance to recognize how awesome you are and all the things that you are accomplishing every day. Even when you look at look back and you go, I didn't do anything. You've done a lot, okay?
Bakers, I have a question for you. Would you help me out? I actually really need some help. I am working on some new mini courses, some live workshops, and updating some of my current courses. And it really bothers me I don't have any courses out for you right now. And I won't have any out to you till January. So I'm looking at making some new courses, just some little mini ones and workshops, just something a little fun for the fall and the winter. Will you help me? Yeah? Yeah, you will? Cool. Okay, so I need you to jump down into the comments and answer these questions for me. First, if you're just starting, what type of breads do you want to learn how to bake first at home? Okay? Second, what type of breads are you most often buying at the store that you would like to replace and be able to just buy at home, where you're in control of all the goodies going into it and not have all those preservatives and high sugars and salts and everything else in your diet? Okay? Third, how long have you been baking? Like, what is your baking experience, especially as it comes to making homemade breads? If you guys can answer these questions for me, it would be a huge help for me so that I can whip up some really fun, nice, bite sized little courses for you where you can learn all the basics that you need to learn. And if you're a little bit more advanced, some fun bread baking courses that you can like gobble up and use over the coming holidays for the fall and for Christmas. Yeah, right? Okay, so one of the biggest problems I have as being someone who's been baking bread for some 15 years now, give or take a little, I don't even remember the exact year I started baking homemade breads. I'm self taught, even though I grew up in a family where we made homemade rolls almost daily. I didn't know how to do it all. My only job was to shape them things, okay? So I had to teach myself how to make homemade breads. And then I fell in love with it. But the biggest problem for me is for me to go back 15 years into my past and remember where I was sitting at right then, right there. What were the most important things to me? What type of breads I was the most interested in learning how to make? I'm one of these people that when I start doing something, I just want to do all of it. I'm like, oh, I could do this part, so now I can do blah, 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 blah. And then I get in over my head. So it's a little difficult for me to go back in time sometimes so that I can meet all of you at exactly the same place that you are at, even though I've already been there. So, if you can answer these questions for me, honey, I would be so eternally grateful. I can't even tell you how grateful I would be. If you would love to learn how to make homemade breads consistently and you're looking for that perfect homemade bread course, mini course, or workshop that is perfect for you, jump down into the comments, help me out on these, and I will be putting these courses together the next month. I want to put at least 2 more courses or workshops together for you over the course of the fall and this winter, okay? So help me out so I can meet you exactly where you are at. And, if there's something that is particularly important to you, please make sure to include that because I know what it's like to buy a course and then feel a little wanting going, I still have questions and you didn't answer it. Yeah, I don't like that in my courses. So I work really hard to make sure you don't have any questions left standing when you're done. I really do my best to make sure I hit that mark because that is so important to me. Okay, so important to me. All right, so we'll see you later, my friend. And remember, if you're just starting, you've got this, okay? And thank you so much. I cannot even begin to put into words what this means to me. It truly means the world to me. Like so much that literally even just doing this video and asking for help and just feeling the gratitude from the people that I already know that have already helped me out on this, like it just makes me want to cry. You guys don't even understand what this means to me and how much this helps me. I love you. Have an amazing day.
All right. Talk to you guys later. See ya.